Looking at Japan's agriculture from the outside, one fact becomes very clear. Japan does not try to compete with the largest farming countries in the world by producing the largest quantities. Countries like the United States, Brazil, and China have vast areas of farmland and can produce massive volumes of crops. Japan simply does not have that much land. Instead, Japan follows a different path. The country focuses on quality, precision, and value. Whether it is tea grown under shade, rice planted with exact spacing, grapes protected with paper bags, tuna raised in controlled ocean cages, or cattle fed carefully for years, every product follows the same principle. Each step is designed to increase quality rather than quantity. This strategy allows Japanese farmers to sell their products at premium prices. Even small amounts of production can generate large economic value when the quality is high. Technology also plays an important role in this system. Machines help farmers work efficiently on small fields, while automated systems help manage fish farms and processing operations. A cluster of grapes can sell for hundreds of dollars. A single tuna can reach millions at auction. A cut of Wagyu beef can become one of the most luxurious foods in the world. All of this comes from a country where only a small part of the land can be farmed. Through innovation, patience, and precision, Japan has transformed its limited farmland into one of the most respected agricultural industries on the planet. And this careful balance between tradition and technology continues to shape the future of Japanese farming. Japan's geography creates problems that farmers must face every day. The country sits along a region known for frequent earthquakes. Strong storms can strike the islands each year. Heavy rains can cause floods. In winter, some areas experience cold winds and harsh weather. For farmers, these conditions make agriculture unpredictable. If Japan tried to compete with other countries by producing crops in huge volumes, it would likely fail. So Japanese farmers chose a different path. They turned farming into a system based on precision and careful control. Technology plays an important role. Modern machines are designed specifically for Japan's small fields. These machines are often smaller than those used in large farming countries, but they are built to move easily through narrow spaces and soft terrain. The goal is to make every piece of land productive. This approach does not try to produce the most food in the world. Instead, it focuses on producing food that people are willing to pay more for because of its quality. The secret behind Japan's world-famous matcha. Among Japan's many agricultural products, green tea holds a special place. Tea farming in Japan is not spread evenly across the country. Instead, it is concentrated in specific regions known for their suitable climate and soil. Areas such as Shizuoka, Uji in Kyoto, Kagoshima, and Aichi are famous for their tea plantations. Although this represents only a small portion of the country's farmland, the green tea industry generates hundreds of millions of dollars every year. But Japanese tea is not famous simply because it is grown. It is famous because of how it is grown. One of the most well-known tea products from Japan is matcha, a fine green powder used in drinks, desserts, and traditional tea ceremonies. Matcha is recognized around the world for its bright green color and smooth taste. The secret behind this unique quality begins weeks before the harvest. About 3 weeks before the tea leaves are picked, farmers begin covering the tea fields with layers of black netting or straw. These coverings block up to 90% of the sunlight that would normally reach the plants. At first, this might seem strange. Plants usually need sunlight to grow, but in this case, the shade creates an important change inside the tea plants. When sunlight becomes limited, the plants react by producing more chlorophyll, the green substance that helps them capture light for energy. As a result, the leaves develop a much deeper green color. When harvest season arrives, usually in early May, the tea leaves are ready to be collected. To meet the growing global demand for Japanese tea, farmers use specialized harvesting machines. These machines move along rows of tea plants and cut the leaves in a smooth, curved shape. At the same time, powerful air streams push the fresh leaves directly into collection bags. Once the leaves arrive at the factory, the next steps must happen quickly. The leaves are first steamed to stop oxidation and preserve their bright color. After steaming, they are dried to form a product known as tencha, which is the base ingredient used to make matcha. From there, workers remove the stems and veins from the leaves. Only the softest and purest parts are kept. Finally, the leaves are ground into powder using large granite stone mills. The stones rotate very slowly so that heat does not damage the delicate flavor. Because of this slow process, it takes about 1 full hour to produce just 30 grams of matcha powder. This level of care is the reason Japanese matcha is known for its quality around the world. And this dedication to precision and quality is not limited to tea alone. As demand for Japanese agricultural products grew around the world, farmers faced a difficult question. How could they produce enough food to meet demand while still protecting the careful quality that made their products famous? The answer came through technology. In Japan, farming machines are not always large and powerful like the ones used in huge farming countries. Instead, they are designed with a different goal. They must work perfectly on small, narrow, and sometimes uneven fields. This is why Japanese agricultural machines often look smaller, but their true strength is precision. This careful mix of machines and traditional methods shows how Japanese agriculture balances modern technology with old craftsmanship. The machines help with speed and efficiency, but the final goal remains the same: protecting the quality of the product. Rice is one of the most important foods in Japan. It has been part of the country's culture and daily meals for centuries. However, Japan is not one of the largest rice producers in the world. Countries like Thailand and Vietnam grow much larger amounts of rice. Instead of competing in volume, Japan focuses on premium varieties. One of the most famous types is koshikari rice. This rice is known for its soft texture, natural sweetness, and the way the grains stick together when cooked. But producing rice of this quality requires a long and careful process. It begins with the seeds. In many countries, rice seeds are simply scattered directly into flooded fields. Japanese farmers use a different method. They start by placing seeds into plastic trays filled with loose, nutrient-rich soil. Inside these trays, the seeds begin to grow into young rice seedlings. As the seedlings develop, their roots connect tightly together, forming a strong mat. This makes it possible to lift entire sections of seedlings without damaging the roots. Once the seedlings are ready, they are loaded onto automatic rice transplanters. These machines move slowly across the muddy fields. Mechanical arms separate small clumps of seedlings and place them into the soil at exact distances. Each row is planted about 30 centimeters apart. This spacing is very important. Straight rows allow better air movement between the plants. Sunlight can reach every part of the field more evenly. This also helps reduce pests and plant diseases. Months later, when the rice plants turn golden, the harvest season begins. These harvesters perform multiple tasks simultaneously. They cut the rice plants, separate the grains, and place the harvested rice directly into bags. At the same time, the leftover straw is chopped and returned to the soil, helping restore nutrients for the next season. With this system, a single machine can harvest 1 hectare of rice in less than 3 hours, work that once required many laborers. All of this care from seed to harvest is why Japanese rice has such a high reputation. These are Shine Muscat grapes, one of Japan's most famous luxury fruits. Shine Muscat grapes are known for their crisp texture and sweet flavor. Their sweetness can reach 20 degrees Brix, which is about 1.5 times sweeter than many ordinary grapes. When the grapevines start to flower, farmers make a difficult choice. Instead of letting many grape clusters grow, they remove most of them. Each branch is allowed to keep only 1 cluster. This may look like a loss at first, but it allows the plant to focus all its nutrients and sugars into that 1 cluster. The result is a stronger, sweeter fruit. The careful work continues as the grapes begin to grow. Farmers inspect each cluster by hand. They remove smaller grapes inside the cluster so that the remaining grapes have more space to grow larger. This process also allows sunlight and air to reach every part of the cluster. Then comes another step. Each cluster is covered with a special paper bag while still hanging on the vine. These bags protect the grapes from insects. They also shield the fruit from strong sunlight that could damage the skin. Even rain droplets that might cause mold are blocked by the covering. Because of this protection, the grapes develop smooth and glossy skins that can be eaten directly. When harvest season arrives, the work becomes even more precise. Farmers do not simply pick all the grapes at once. Instead, they measure the sugar level of each cluster using handheld devices. Only the clusters that meet the correct standard are harvested. Workers cut each cluster carefully with special scissors. They avoid shaking or squeezing the grapes because the skin is delicate. After cutting, the grapes are placed into soft cushioned trays to protect their shape. There is no stacking or rough handling. Every cluster is treated with care. These grapes are not just fruit. They are considered a luxury product, reflecting the patience and precision of Japanese farming. While farming on land is important in Japan, the country also looks toward the ocean. Surrounded by water, Japan has a long tradition of seafood consumption. Over time, seafood became another powerful part of its agricultural economy. Today, Japan's high-end seafood industry is worth around $2.5 billion every year. Among hundreds of seafood species, one fish stands above the rest in value. That fish is bluefin tuna. Bluefin tuna is one of the most prized ingredients in sushi and sashimi. The richest and most famous cut comes from the fatty belly of the fish. This cut is called otoro. Because of its soft texture and deep flavor, otoro is considered a luxury food. A single high-quality bluefin tuna can be worth an enormous amount of money. In some cases, the price of the fish can reach $30,000 to $50,000, similar to the price of a luxury car. Traditionally, bluefin tuna are caught in the northern Pacific Ocean, especially during the winter season. Fishermen use careful techniques such as handline fishing and longline fishing. These methods help keep the meat in good condition. To protect the species and maintain supply, Japan began developing offshore tuna farming. In these farms, tuna are raised inside large circular cages placed in deep ocean waters. The environment inside the cages is carefully controlled. Farmers monitor water currents, oxygen levels, and temperature. Feeding is also managed with precision. Automated systems distribute food at controlled amounts, helping the fish grow evenly and develop the correct balance of fat. Through this advanced aquaculture system, Japan now produces more than 10,000 tons of farmed bluefin tuna every year. The value of this production is estimated at least $700 million. This system has helped Japan become the world's leading producer of farmed bluefin tuna in the luxury seafood market. And this is where the story of Japan's famous tuna auctions begins. Each fish receives an identification number that records its origin, its weight, and the vessel that caught it. This system helps buyers trace the exact history of every fish. Experienced seafood traders walk slowly around the fish. These buyers have spent many years learning how to judge tuna quality. They do not cut the fish open completely. Instead, they study small details. They examine the color of the meat, the pattern of fat marbling, and the firmness of the flesh. Even the smallest sign can reveal the quality of the fish. When the auction begins, communication is surprisingly quiet. Traders place their bids using subtle hand signals. Within minutes, the price of a single tuna can climb higher and higher. Sometimes the results are astonishing. The highest record ever set was a bluefin tuna sold for 333.6 million yen, which equals about $3.1 million US. That single fish became one of the most expensive seafood items ever sold. Through this organized system, Japan turns a single fish into one of the most valuable products in the seafood world. Leaving the busy seafood markets behind, another famous product of Japanese agriculture waits on land. This product is known around the world for its rich taste and unique texture. It is Wagyu beef. Wagyu beef is famous for its beautiful marbling. Thin lines of fat spread evenly through the red meat, creating a pattern that looks almost like artwork. Unlike industrial cattle farming in many countries, Wagyu cattle are raised slowly and patiently. The feeding cycle lasts at least 30 months, which is nearly twice as long as many commercial cattle farms. This extra time allows the marbling to develop inside the muscles. However, food is not the only factor that matters. Japanese farmers believe that stress can damage meat quality. If cattle feel too much stress, the muscles can become tough, and the fat distribution may change. For this reason, Wagyu cattle are raised in very calm environments. During the hot summer months, farmers sometimes give the cattle small amounts of beer. The purpose is not to entertain the animals, but to stimulate their appetite, helping them continue eating during warm weather. Before a cow can be sold, it must pass one of the strictest grading systems in the world. Inspectors examine the meat carefully. They look at the fat-to-lean ratio, the color of the meat, and the shine of the fat. Only beef that meets the highest standards receives the famous A5 grade, which is the top classification. Another unique feature of Wagyu cattle is the way each animal is tracked. Every cow has its own birth certificate. This document records its history and lineage. To make identification even more precise, each cow also has a unique nose print, similar to a fingerprint for humans. When the cattle reach a weight of about 700 to 800 kilograms, they are ready for processing. Because of the long feeding period and the careful raising methods, Wagyu beef can sell for $500 to $1,000 per kilogram. The result is a type of beef that melts easily when cooked. In fact, Wagyu fat begins to melt at around 25 degrees Celsius, which is lower than human body temperature. This is why people often describe Wagyu as meat that melts in the mouth. When people think about the biggest farming countries in the world, they often picture huge open lands. Countries like the United States, China, and Brazil grow food on massive fields that stretch for miles. Their strength in agriculture comes from size. The more land they have, the more crops they can grow. Japan is very different. Japan is a country where mountains cover most of the land. In fact, about 70% of Japan is mountainous. Because of this, only about 12% of the country's land can be used for farming. That is a very small amount compared to other major agricultural nations. At first glance, it seems like a serious disadvantage. Imagine trying to build a powerful farming industry when most of your country is made of steep mountains. Imagine trying to grow food while dealing with earthquakes, storms, floods, and other natural disasters. These challenges make farming even harder. Yet, Japan has done something surprising. Every year, Japan produces more than 60 million tons of agricultural products and food. The total value of this production reaches tens of billions of dollars annually. Even with high production costs and a currency that can change in value quickly, Japanese agriculture continues to thrive. But Japan did not succeed by copying the same strategy as other countries. Instead of focusing on growing huge amounts of cheap crops, Japan focused on something very different. Japanese farmers aim to produce food with extremely high quality. The goal is not simply to fill markets with large volumes. The goal is to create products that stand out in taste, appearance, and reputation. Because of this approach, many Japanese agricultural products are known around the world as premium goods. Buyers expect them to be carefully grown, carefully harvested, and carefully prepared. Over time, this focus on quality helped Japan build one of the most valuable agricultural industries in the world, even though it operates on limited farmland. This is the farming paradox of Japan. A country with very little land has managed to create enormous value from agriculture. And the way it achieved this is by turning every small piece of farmland into a place where precision, knowledge, and careful work matter more than size.